I don't think there's going to be another season to The Expanse. And the reason for this is that in the books there is a time skip of 30 years between the events of this season and the next. So, unless they would majorly change the story, and I don't see how, because it would be a massive, colossal deviation from the books, especially considering that in those 30 years, nothing much happens. They're not going to do it. And they're not going to do it because not only is the show very expensive to make, and Amazon said they're not making another season, but also they would now have to add extra makeup on all the actors in order to make them look older. So the only way you would have another Expanse is probably through a movie, because it's very unlikely that another network will pick it up. Maybe they will just say, okay, the time lapse is 10 years rather than 30, but then it would be very weird. Because I will tell you what happens without giving you much spoilers towards the end of the video. So first of all, let's recap on what happens with this interesting story in the beginning. Now, this is a very small novel. I believe it's around 50 to 60 pages. And it tells the story about Laconia. Laconia is one of the colonies that mankind has managed to go through the rings in order to get. And a lot of people don't understand what's up with the dogs. So to recap, you have this little girl on a planet and she's noticing all of these alien wildlife, and she's giving chocolate to one of the birds and the bird dies. So she's very upset, and she noticed that one of the alien creatures, a dog, manages to bring the bird back to life. And later on, her brother gets killed, and she takes his corpse to those dogs, and they bring the brother back to life. And he looks like this. So the parents freak out when they see the brother, and they lock him away, and then you know what happens. Now, those dogs are actually drones made by the builders, and their whole function is to repair things. So by repairing this young lad, they don't really patch him up together as new, but they do their best. So that is the whole thing with those dogs. And the story doesn't end there. Like, there's a continuation in the next season. I'm not going to go into it, not to give many spoilers. But it was a great episode, and in case you don't know The Expanse, it's kind of like Game of Thrones in space. You have different factions. You have Earth, you have Mars, you have the Belt, and they're all fighting for supremacy. And then you also have an alien faction, and I have to say I really love the way they do aliens in this TV show. It's absolutely great. I mean, they actually do feel alien compared to, you know, Star Trek or any other show like Battlestar Galactica where the aliens look humanoid. Here the aliens genuinely look alien and foreign, and that's a good thing. Now, I will tell you what happens in the next season, and I won't tell you the whole story. I'll just tell you enough to get you intrigued. Maybe you want to read the books. Maybe you want to know what happens. And I'll just give you like a little teaser, a little plot twist. So if you're curious, then stick around. But again, I don't think they're going to make another season with this. So if anything, you're going to have to pick up the books and read. So as I mentioned before, there's 3 decades of time which passes. And the Laconian planet, this planet with the kid right here, they go dark. And you see this towards the end of the movie when Inarius asks for reinforcements. He is being told that there's going to be no more communications and no ships are going to be allowed to pass through the ring. And that planet, Laconia, is closed. So throughout these 3 decades, they keep sending satellites and probes to Laconia, and they all get shot down. And after 3 decades, Laconia finally exits its own space and goes into the solar system. And they're equipped with powerful military navies, which are armed with alien technology. So they have self-repairing hull, they have incredibly powerful weapons, and they completely wipe the floor with the solar forces. So they wipe the floor with Mars, they wipe the floor with Earth. They also completely destroy the belt. So they become the Laconian Empire. Laconia is now the center of civilization for the humankind. They start colonizing more planets. And Laconia is this really, really nasty, brutal, authoritarian regime. Human liberty is almost non-existent in Laconia. I mean, think about Soviet Union on steroids. Everyone is a cog in a machine. You do what you're told. It's kind of like Warhammer 40k-ish in a way. So it's really nice to see how the heroes are going to triumph in this very dark region of space and this dark future for mankind. And to make it worse, the Emperor, he gets technology from the builders and is now immortal. So it makes it even more interesting. I mean, he's completely mad with power, and he's doing all sorts of inhumane experiments. And again, all of the planets, all of the habitable worlds are in complete control of Laconia. And what makes it interesting is that eventually they're going to fight with the unknown adversary, is those dark things from the rings. Apparently they get pissed off every time people travel through the rings because it hurts their space. And it's really interesting how they manage to fight back because, again, they do aliens really well in this show. And they don't have spaceships or anything, but they have other ways of attacking humans. And they managed to wipe the builders before using similar methods. So it's a great show. I recommend people should read the books. It's definitely something that got me hooked. And unfortunately, well, it's over. So I don't expect we're going to see anything else. If we're very lucky, and this is a big if, we might see a movie. To me, this is very sad because while I understand that it's very expensive to make, you have a show like Star Trek Discovery, which is also very expensive to make, and it's on like season 5 now? So while you have like garbage shows that keep being remade over and over, other shows that are really great and really interesting, they're not being remade, you know, and it's sad. What can I say? But I guess like the way the story ended was on a high note. I mean, the conclusion of it all is really great. Very few shows manage to end it in a satisfying and gratifying way. So even if they manage to end it here and you don't get to see those extra 2 new seasons with what happens in the future, I still think it's a really great ending. It wrapped it up really nicely. And I'm just sad that we're not going to see more of it. And another thing that I really like this season is that you finally get to see some warfare in space, especially in the last episode, because the war between Earth and Mars was done off camera, if I remember correctly. I mean, it was just one episode they were going to battle, and the next episode they managed to, you know, talk about who won and peace treaties and whatnot. So in the books, it goes a lot more in depth. You get to see more of that war. And I was hoping to see it on the screen, but unfortunately we didn't. And now we got to see it in this episode, that it was as great as I imagined it. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.